Hello, I am Mayank. I'm a PhD researcher working on nano devices, and this will be the only video that you would ever need to optimize your entire life. I wish I would have read this book earlier, but now that I've read it, let's optimize our lives together. In this video, we will talk about happiness, time, lifestyle, friends, lazy achievement, money, and intuition. Basically, anything and everything that you would ever need to have a successful and fulfilling life. Let's start. In order for you to understand and execute everything that we are going to talk about in this video, you have to understand something important. I will call it lesson number 0, which is non-linear thinking. We think in 50-50 terms, which is efforts versus rewards, inputs versus outputs are linearly connected, but that is not the case. In most of the cases in your life, 5% or 10% or 20% of your efforts give you 70, 80, sometimes 95% of your gains. Once you understand that both on psychological level and on practical level, then all the things that we are going to talk about in this video will make sense. They will help you in your personal life and professional life. Now that out of the way, let's start with lesson number 1. Lesson number 1, happiness. In this, we are going to talk about two things. One, the things that you can do on everyday basis to be more happy. And other is the holistic, the overall things that you can optimize in your life to be more happy. Let's talk about the daily things that you can do. If I do the 80-20 analysis of happiness itself, the daily habits, I would boil them down into just 3 things. Physical, mental, and spiritual things that you do. Physical involves, of course, physical activity, some sort of exercise, some sort of playing sport. It is always helpful. Personally, I've been doing exercise for last 10 years, and before that I used to play a lot of sports. I still play sports, not that regularly, but exercise is something that has been consistent in my life. And no matter how the day has been, whenever I do workout, after that, I've always felt better. Okay, better from the baseline that I had. Of course, that better varies from day to day, but in every scenario, the baseline improves. Then comes the mental. You have to do some sort of creative work. It could be your professional work if that fulfills you creatively, or something else that you have to do in your free time. It could be painting or reading poetry or anything. You have to do something that stimulates your brain. Recently, what I've been doing is while cooking my food, so one of my friends is preparing for Indian Administrative Services exam and he's making some questions here and there. So when I'm cooking food, he's usually reading me questions and reading me the options, and then I'm giving him the answers of what I think. It helps both of us actually. He wants to improve his reading abilities, his enunciation and pronunciation of words, and I get some mental stimulation while I'm cooking my food. It works both ways. Then comes the spiritual part. It could be either meditation, you're going for a walk, you're sitting just by yourself, just thinking in your thoughts, you're doing some kind gesture to someone, or giving some compliment to your friend or your colleague. All those things, they stimulate you, they make you feel good about yourself. And personally, I'm not super fixated about meditation, sitting in my room and doing meditation. For me, going for a walk, it's more refreshing than anything else. So it could be anything for you. The moment it becomes a compulsion, it won't be spiritual, I would say. Do what you really like to do. For me, walking is more fun. It makes me calm. Of course, don't use your phone while you're walking. I usually leave my phone at home, or if I'm walking, I keep my internet off and keep my phone on mute. So just in case if I need my phone, I'll use it to call someone or look something, but otherwise I don't check my phone. That is a good experience, otherwise every notification will be distracting you. Then comes the holistic view of happiness, which is the things that you can improve in your life itself that improve your happiness. Number 1 on that list is, of course, your partner. Then comes your work, friends, and wealth. Friends, we will talk about that in detail later. Work, we will also talk about that in detail. Here, let's talk about partner and wealth. Look, I don't know what is the exact number, but I would say definitely more than 70% of your happiness and your misery will come from your partner. So choosing the right partner is very important. And once you find the right partner, sticking to the right partner is even more important. There is no ideal partner out there. If you spend your whole life trying to find the most optimal solution for this problem, I think the life will be gone and you will have no solution at all. And even if you get the optimal solution, you'll have not enough time to enjoy with that optimal solution. So it's not a mathematical problem. Then comes wealth. Look, there's no guarantee that wealth will make you happy. But there's one thing for sure. The moment you have enough wealth to take care of your daily needs, your personal needs, for example, your health, your basic needs, for example, paying fee for yourself or for your kids, or being able to buy the kind of food that you want to eat, right? Being able to enjoy with your friends. Once those things are taken care of, any wealth on top of that, I don't know if that makes you happy or not. And I personally see wealth as a multiplicative effect, not an additive effect. What do I mean by that? It means that whatever you are, you'll become more of that. So if you're a happy person, you'll become more happy. If you're an unhappy person, you'll become more unhappy when you get more wealth. So, and if you're a miserable person, you'll become even more miserable. If you're an angry person, you'll become more angry. I don't know, if you are unhealthy, you like to eat unhealthy food, you'll eat more unhealthy food. So whatever you do now, it will be just amplified by getting more wealth. So try to optimize your life with your given wealth, and then of course strive for getting more wealth. We'll talk about a little bit how to improve this wealth later in the video. Then comes time. Number one thing that I learned from the book about time is that don't think time as linear. It's like what is being lost is lost forever. No. The author, Richard Koch, talks about time as something the strangler structure. He thinks present as the bridge between past and future. And he says that time goes around and comes around. It's like whatever time you lose, it will come back. Don't worry. Don't think that you've lost everything and it will never come back. The fact is, we have so much time that we don't even bother to protect it. And we waste it on things which don't matter. It's not that we have limited time. We have more than enough time on this planet. But the thing is, we spend a big chunk of that time on activities, things, people, which don't even matter. So the moment we eliminate that, we are left with more than enough time to enjoy the things that we truly love and cherish. Here in the book, Richard gives you high value uses of time and low value uses of your time. But if I do an 80-20 analysis of what he's trying to say here in the book, I would say think about what you want to do, where you want to be, and who you want to be with. And start from there. Anything and everything that you do which is related to those tasks is a valuable use of your time. Rest everything is useless. So here, for example, in my case, I'm trying to do my thesis. So that will be a valuable use of time. I'm trying to make these YouTube videos. I'm trying to read books. I'm trying to take care of my health. Anything and everything that I do which is related to these things or these activities, I would consider that as a high value use of my time. Rest everything, every single thing is a low value use of my time. And I would say don't make these things more than 3 or 5. I think 5 is a very good number. Beyond 5, it becomes very hard for you to keep a track of it. Let's say if you're in college, when I was in college, I would just target less than 3 tasks for this semester. Let's say I have to get the best GPA that I can get in this semester. I have to improve this particular skill, let's say, I don't know, this lab skill or this particular equipment or this particular fabrication technique. And then I would, let's say, think about the scholarship that I want to apply for. I would not even think about more than 3 things for a particular semester. Because more than that, it becomes very difficult for me to manage. Maybe you're smart, maybe you can manage 5 or 7 things. Okay, that's up to you, but I would not recommend beyond 5. 5 is still a lot of things to manage. Then comes lifestyle. But lifestyle is primarily dictated, especially in the modern world, is dictated by the kind of work that you do. And the kind of work that you should be doing is dictated by the kind of person you are. Here in the book, Richard is trying to give you a way to figure that out. I'll put it here. So what he says that, look at the box that you see. So basically, the degree of need for achievement is on the y-axis, and prefer working in organizations, prefer being a self-employed solo trader, prefer employing or organizing others. So it gives you 6 boxes, and each of the boxes have different qualities. So let's say, for example, somebody in box 4. Box 4 would be a conventional job. Somebody who likes to do a conventional job in an organization, they are not super ambitious. They just want to have their life. They want to have enough money. And there's nothing wrong about it, by the way. You want to have a conventional job, you want to enjoy your time with your family, with your wife, with your husband, with your kids, with your parents. There's nothing wrong about it. Look, there's no one right way to live this life, frankly. I have done this mistake in the past. I've always felt people who are more ambitious and more driven are that's the right way to go about life. Personally, now I feel I am a very driven person, I know that, but that's me. That's how my brain is wired. That gives me happiness. Doing more work makes me happy. That necessarily not the thing that makes everyone else happy. Maybe people are happy to achieve enough success which is good enough to feed their kids, to have a good life, and that's it. They're happy with that. And believe me, I've met people in my life now who have very good credentials, and I see their career by the time they're in their 30s. They have very good credentials. I'm like, why this person is not aspiring to become this big professor? They're happy being a scientist because they have figured out what they want from life. They want a stable job which pays them well. They want to go to concerts, they want to have time with their grandkids and all those things. So there's no right or wrong way to do it. For example, I would put myself in the category somewhere. I've oscillated between 3 and 6 at time to time. I thought I would like to work in organization, but I've never worked in organization, and now I feel that I would not be very happy working in a big corporate world. Personally, I'm more of an 3 or 6. I'm oscillating between them. I loved teaching kids. I've done that in past part-time. When I was doing my bachelor's, I used to teach students, and even now this YouTube makes me feel like as if I'm teaching people. It gives me a lot of joy. So, and creating new stuff, that also makes me very happy. So I would say I'm like an overlap of 3 and 6. So you see, these boxes are not very discrete. You could be a 3 for the 15 hours of your day, and then you can sneak out maybe 3 more hours in your day, and you could be a 6 as well, right? So it depends on you. There's no one size fits all, and we humans are anyway multi-dimensional creatures. We are also son to someone, a partner to someone, a friend to someone, a teacher to someone, so, and many more things. Then comes friends, probably one of the biggest source of happiness that you would ever have. Here I think the number of friends that you have on your Facebook or your Instagram, people who following you, that doesn't count, not at all. Here I think Richard is talking about, and I understand what he's talking about. He's talking about the people in your close circle, and usually I used to think that's like 5 people. Here Richard also talks about something similar, the village theory, like in the past when we were still living in small communities, how we would have lived. So people usually had 2 significant childhood friends, 2 significant adult friends, 2 doctors, 2 powerful sexual partners who eclipse the others. Most commonly you would fall in love once, and 1 family member you love the most. So it's basically 2 plus 2 plus 2, 1 plus 1, that's 10. So it's just 10 people, and that's so true. I think we think that we are connected to a lot of people, but that's not the case. I personally don't have more than 4 or 5 friends who have been around for, I don't know, some of them have been around for more than 10 years. And I know, I mean, the strong bond that you have with few people, it gives you more happiness. That is what he's trying to talk about. Even in the friend circle, 80% of your happiness is concentrated in these 4 or 5 people. So try to look for long-term relations, and your friends is something that can save you from a lot of trouble. Having a good partner is important, but friends are also extremely important. Recently, I mean, even Simon Sinek, he was also talking about friends, how the modern generation is deprived of friendships, and it's the primary, or it's one of the bigger causes of all the anxiety and stress and this hypertension that we see in people. So just like partners, the moment you have friends with whom your value system aligns, hold them on. Then comes something that we all want to have in our life. That's lazy achievement, to achieve more with less effort. Here you have to understand that Richard is not saying that you should not put in effort to achieve something. What he's saying that with the same amount of effort, you should achieve more. Basically, let's say you make $1,000 a week. by putting in X amount of effort. What he's saying that maybe 0.4x or 0.5x is enough for you to get those $1,000 a week. And if you continue to do X amount of effort and you utilize all these philosophies, then you should make at least $2,000 or $3,000 a week. So here he gives another graph. You can see it. So there are lazy, hardworking, stupid, and intelligent people. So what he says that you should focus on these stars, which are lazy and intelligent. Here I agree with Richard that thinking lazy is a very smart move, because otherwise you think for a harder solution for an easier problem. What I mean by that is that you should always look for optimization, how you can get more done in less amount of time. And that is only possible when you spend a lot of time thinking, asking yourself. I think the only way to do this is to be curious and ask yourself at every given point, is this the most optimal way of doing this? It could be anything. The way you exercise, the way you eat, the way you sleep, the way you do your work, every single thing from brushing your teeth to taking a shower, continuously just ask this question, is this the most optimum way of getting what I want? And once you do that, believe me, it has happened to me. Once I started making these videos, it was really hard to do. And then I started asking myself, what will be the optimum way of me achieving the same thing? Then I started distributing my work throughout my day, throughout my week. And now I've been able to manage this. I won't say comfortably, but it's manageable now. I think it will get comfortable. I hope so over time. Here, one more thing that he emphasizes a lot in the book, and I also agree personally, which is who you work with in the early stages of your career matters the most. What do I mean by that? Let's take an example. I don't know if in the Indian context, it is always said people who went to the Indian institutes, they always achieve more. You look at Sundar Pichai, and then you look the current CEO of Perplexity, Arvind Srinivas. There are thousands of examples, people who have made it big, who studied at IIT. But actually IIT has nothing to do with it. That's truth. If anyone says that IIT made them the way they are, I think they don't understand the deeper point. The deeper point is the peer group. The whole process of getting into IIT and the peer group that they got. The peer group is what? The first people whom you are working with. Basically, it's simple as that. So if all your peers are thinking about optimizing their life, thinking about being productive, thinking about achieving something big, you are subconsciously wired or rewired to think like that. Then comes money. The only way to make more money is to make money work for you. There is no other way. Think logically. We, you, everybody on the planet have limited amount of time. So if you make money proportional to your time, let's say you make $1,000 per hour, there is a limit on how many hours you can work, right? And you can work for 8 hours, 15, 16, 17. At some point, it's unhealthy and almost impossible for you to sustain. And if you sustain, you won't be alive to enjoy that money, frankly. So the aim is to be wealthy while you're alive, not to be wealthy when you're dead. So here it becomes very important that you make your money work. So the only thing that he's trying to say is that you have to invest your money the moment you have enough. And it's okay in the beginning, you should focus on improving your skills. I would highly recommend in the early 20s, just focus on improving your skill that they improve so fast, because look, any company that you would invest in would grow at 5%, 10%, or maybe 20% in the best case scenarios. Maybe if it's an Nvidia, maybe it grows exponentially for a while. That's it. But you, my friend, you yourself can improve at 40% per year. That's very easy. And if you improve at 40% per year, I mean, you're doubling your wealth every 1.5 years or so, right? So focus on that. Focus on improving yourself. And once you have some spare income, make that income work. Make that money work for you while you sleep. That's most important. Which brings me to something that Steve Jobs also used to talk about a lot, which is intuition. Intuition is nothing but, as Richard Koch is talking about, he's talking about the subconscious part of your brain. It's about the belief system, what you believe in. The things that we talked about till now were the practical things, were the logical things for your conscious brain. He also talks about that you should believe in all the things, that this is possible. The moment you go to sleep, before you go to sleep, the moment you wake up, whenever you're sitting quiet, just keep reminding yourself, yes, all of this is possible. Yes, I am a happy person. Yes, I can do more work. Yes, I am capable of doing more stuff. Keep reminding that, because to some extent I agree that this is not total jargon. Your subconscious is more smarter. It can process more information without you realizing. And if you keep feeding the right kind of information, you're more likely to get more creative solution out of your brain. They just appear, and when they appear, take a note. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it adds value to your life. And may you achieve everything that you wanted to achieve in the next 5 years within this year. Have a good one, guys. See you in the next one.